Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today, we're gonna be doing the first Total War builds and tips, but before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So, in these videos we're gonna be checking teams for whichever team you actually want to use. You have to let me know in the comments if there's some characters that you want to use here, just to clear maybe the point requirement not to be on the ladder, because to be on the ladder obviously you're gonna need to use the top tier teams, and basically that's the there's few differences between each team. They most of them use the same characters or similar characters that have the same roles, but in any case, let's get right to it. Oh yeah, before I forget, there's something worth noting before we even start, and is that you can grab a copy of Onigumo. This is very good for the newer players, because even if you didn't participate in the last rerun for Onigumo, you'll be able to grab one copy so that you can unlock formation. That's super useful. Also, this is an incredibly useful supporter. If you're missing a copy, if you have it at S level 4, grab it. If you don't have it 5 out of 5, grab it. It's going to be extremely useful. We also have this. I guess that every time we receive a new character, we will be getting the 6-star advancing pass. But that's just speculation. Right now, it might be just the one time, but if you want this, you may grab it. Honestly, it's not a high priority, because this doesn't prevent you from... you don't use crystals up until you awaken beyond 75, and this is not going to awaken you beyond that point, if I'm not mistaken. So, anyways, yeah, that's about it. Now, let's get back to the video. So the first team that we're going to be checking is going to be Red Shiranui, Blue Emily, and Green Rin. So for this team, I am using Shiranui. Obviously, this is a request from someone. So Rin is a very particular character that has an SR anti-demon weapon. Not Rin, sorry. Shiranui. Shiranui is a very particular character that has an SR anti-demon weapon. You can use that, and if you save enough VR coins, you'll be able to grab the better version in Wicked Star Arachnid's Scepter. This is super useful, and depending on the weapon, the skills that you want to use, because this one enhances Rondo. It gives it 60% more damage, and that's super nice. For the Magatemes, I go with Fire Magatemes, because this is going to increase the damage of this character. You might go with Mixed Magatemes, that's also fine. Going with double fire, double water is fine, or maybe double water, double wind, depending on your skills. So, if you go with Arachnid Scepter, you want to use Rondo. But if you go with the SR weapon, you want to use Senko. Senko still has some disadvantages. The AoE in comparison is way shorter, but it does have the critical damage increase, which helps out with damage. It is a little bit risky, but I mean, you're gonna do a couple runs on this to increase your score, so you have a chance to let the AI actually use the skills properly. Now, we're gonna use Genejin, but it's also possible to use Shinen Shinsoku, because both skills are actually pretty good, especially on red. Genejin increases the damage of the clone on red, and Shinshin Shoku increases the attack frequency, so both of them are going to increase DPS. It's a matter of preference. And lastly, I'm gonna use Gene Sekai. Because of the supporters I use, if you use general damage increase, you may want to use the basic enhancer. But if you use skill damage increase, then use Gene Sekai. Sogetsuin, while very useful and while it gives you a buff, it has a long duration, and you don't want skills with long durations, preferably while we're doing while we are playing on Total War. So that's the reason why I don't use this skill, even though it's kinda good. Kinda. Now, for supporters, I am using New Year Shiranui, I'm using Barretta, and I'm also using Yukina. If you are in a very dire situation and you don't have supporters, guess what? You can use Arika. Arika is an excellent option. It increases damage against bosses by 30%. There's also the ability to use Homura, and you can go with Homura because you have enough healing with Rondo. That's a good thing. There's also the ability to use where is she? Estella. Estella is a pretty F2P option. If you inflict debuffs, in this specific case, I inflict the debuffs, so I could use Susune. And of course, there's also Holy Knight Kirara. And then, what else do I have? I have Yukina. Keep that in mind. Yukina is the reason why I'm using the Genesekai over here instead of the basic enhancer. If I was using Stella, I would be using the basic enhancer. So now let's go. Well, yeah, I'll also show stats of the customs and stats of the stat training just cause. And let's go with Emily. For Emily, Emily has a ton of roles that she can perform. But if you want her to be DPS, honestly, any weapon would do well. You can use a Sledge of Blessings. It is a pretty good weapon. You can use the Mochi weapon, which both of these are going to make her a pseudo supporter, but it's pretty good. If you don't have enough S levels, perhaps you want to go with the Sledge of Blessing or enchantment levels, because this one is always giving benefit and this one only gives benefit when she crits. But due to the attack speed, it is very likely that she crits. So it is not that hard to crit with this. So yeah, both of these increase the damage of the party. And this one increases the individual damage of the character, but it's a big increase, so you may want this one. And the last one that you can use, pretty F2P, is Providence Eye, because it increases damage against demons. So it's up to you to select whichever weapon you want. Oh yeah, there's also Hermetic Magistus, also for DPS and focusing on Emily herself. So yeah, these 5 weapons are probably what you want to use. Whichever you have available, it's going to be pretty good. For Magatemes, we of course want the Wind Magatemes. And for skills, we want Gravity Hold to deal damage and heal. We want Homing Bullet because we don't want to get near the enemy. And then, on the last slot, there's options. You can use Healing Field, you can use Zero System, you can use Drone Shock. Ground Shock has a great effect, but a long animation. Again, you don't want that. Aegis Tackle puts you next to the enemy. You don't want that. Counter Bomb Trap is a counter. You don't want to be next to the enemy. So these are skills we are not using. So it's up to you what to put on the last slot. But it's either going to be Healing Field, Drone Shocker, or Zero System. Zero System is fine as long as you're not using the Renewal weapon. If you're using this weapon, do not use Zero System. Then, for customs, these are the stats. For stat training, it is maxed out. It's Emily. And then we have Ureha Rin. Rin is going to be going on Rin. And what is she using? She's using the Momochi weapon. Honestly, it's just a whatever gacha weapon that I put. And I have this limited gacha weapon, but it's on the sub slot. It's just for the stats. You can replace it with whatever. It doesn't really matter. And you can use the character release weapon. That's fine. But honestly, it is not that much of a difference. So yeah, it's up to you. Whichever weapon you put on this one is fine, because she doesn't have like a busted weapon right now. Rin, I mean. You could go with the limited one if you're going green, but again, it's not like super busted. So I'm going with Water Magatemes, but honestly, it would be a better pick to go mix. And then for skills, Chain Vault to deal damage and also electrocute the enemy. Then Volt Spin to heal, and Soaring Swallow, because these two have low cooldowns and it is easy to abuse Soaring Swallow with this combo. It would be Chain Vault, Soaring Swallow, Volt Spin, Soaring Swallow, and such. And the AI can easily do the combo, unlike me, who cannot do this properly. But anyways, that's an option. You may also use the basic enhancer, that's fine. Especially because that's going to give you a little bit of super armor. Bolt Rush, while a pretty good skill, it is a pretty good skill, and it has the damage increase. It has a long animation. Again, you don't want long animations. Denki, it's there. It could be a little bit useful if you have that 4 slot, but honestly, you want skills that deal damage to increase your DPS. And that's about it. The other skills, Volt Hook and Raika, you don't want to use. For supporters, I'm going Super Crit, so Misaki, Kowaru, and Suruga. Oh, I missed the supporters of Emily, I guess. I'll go to that in a moment. So, we're going Super Crit. You can use F2P options like Leveria, or you can use paid options like Assault Ring or Tokiko. That's fine. There's also the ability to go with Ichika and Kotone. There's also Yuno. I do not recommend Yuno that much, honestly, because you want to use your ultimates or your weapon skills, so you don't want the particle consumption, even if you gain invincibility. There's no, this is red, so not this one. There's Saika. There's White Knight Asagi. You can use White Knight Asagi for sure. There's Torajiro. There's Baretta. There's Mitsuki. So yeah, there's a ton of good options. And of course the Founding 3, but that's a little bit too paid. I'm going with either event supporters or permanent gacha supporters because you're going to be able to get these ones. Stats of the customs and stats of the stat training. Let's see, did I miss the supporters for Emily? I guess I did. So Emily is going to be using Arabella, Onigumo, and Uraru. Pretty F2P, extremely F2P. If you have better options, like let's say Kowaru is super good on Emily. If you go with basics, again, the renewal weapon means no Kowaru. You can use this one, you can use Anna Rose if you have enough crit. Even if you don't have enough crit, you can use it actually, thanks to the critical increase passive. You can use Felicia. Felicia is the best option to equip to this character if you want her to be a DPS. You can use... I think that's about it, guys. Like, well, technically you could use Keito and Reina. Or is Reina? Here is Reina. But since the debuff duration is reduced, I do not recommend those two. Maybe Reina, because she gives extra critical damage on all attacks, and that's fine. So yeah, let's do a run to see how these perform. Yeah, nice. I hope it didn't get disconnected. So yeah. Anyways, they are... I'm gonna do the runs on relay mode because I can do infinite runs over here. And basically you just double the amount of damage these characters deal. So yeah, as you can see, they have now Edwin has a ton of debuffs, and I like that they fix his bar, because previously he would clear the debuffs for a period of time and nothing would appear on him. I think it was a display issue more than a clearing all buffs after X amount of time. I mean, the reduced duration is fine, but look at that. We have the permanent damage increase thanks to the Momochi weapons, because both Emily and Rin are applying that debuff constantly. And Emily can do the thing by herself, but oh, that damage increase is good. Oh my god, it's not enough damage, guys. It's not enough damage. I mean, yeah, this is 300 points. 300 points. And how much do we need, guys? I think it's 400 points. Oh, even so, it's not good enough. Um, hmm. Can we? I'm gonna try it again. I think Emily. Mm, okay. How about this? How about this? Would the damage increase be? Okay, no, I cannot. I cannot because I would have to clear everything. I know I can just use the retry. Yeah, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. Oh, for a moment I thought that I was going to clear the characters. So with this, Emily could do. Let's see if an equivalent amount of damage or a little bit more. So Rin, where is Rin? I don't see Rin. Ah, she's been covered by Edwin, but she's over there constantly applying that. Wow, wow, nice. She's able to apply like the 5 stacks with the green skill. So yeah, that's good because at least you're gonna have big chunks of damage, which is pretty nice. And as long as she keeps attacking, she's gonna be able to keep those 5 stacks in place for a while. It is not like perma 5 stacks for the Momochi weapon damage increase, but it is good enough. It is good enough. Uh, but I think that the damage is lower. Mm, if we compare it, yeah, it seems that the damage is lower. The only thing that we could do to improve this, perhaps, is to use the. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. One more try. We can just unequip this and use a Sledge of Blessings because that's going to increase the damage of the team. And over here, this, and this. Since Shiranui is our main damage dealer, she might be able to deal more damage with Sledge of Blessing equipped to Emily, and that should increase our DPS. Still, Emily with the Momochi weapon is super useful. Yeah, you always want to have Momochi weapons. Like, thanks to BR, people dismantle a ton of Momochi weapons or use them as fodder for the exchange facility. But honestly, I always knew that they were pretty decent weapons. For the most part, there's a couple exceptions, Murasaki. But, okay, let's see. I think the damage is gonna be a little bit higher. Uh-huh. Yeah, unfortunately, getting Sledge of Blessing if you didn't participate on the original campaign is not an easy task. Well, anyways. And there's RNG, and there's RNG, and I guess that the Mochi weapon is the best. Yeah, well, we checked all of this, and the Momochi weapon is the winner, it seems. Now, I'm going to show you another build for newer players. These two characters, well, these three characters are pretty good, but Azor you can substitute with whichever damage dealer that you have in your account and whichever character that you have a lot of investment. But these two are gonna help you out for being able to farm a couple points while you're leveling up, and if you enhance them, you're also going to be able to use these two on. Wait a moment, that's not the build. You're gonna be able to use those two in VR, not just Total War. So it is Very, very good. So, over here, we have, first of all, a Lapis. What is Lapis going to do? She's going to use Vajra Scepter again. You could use, of course, the Shikigiri to increase the damage of the party. That's also an option. I'm using Vajra Scepter just to help out with damage. Then we have, not Emily, we have, we have the moral boost, gem support, and piercing dash. So this is going to be super important for newer players, because something that I see is that when newer players try this, they obviously they get decimated and their characters die. So by increasing your defense, by having ways to heal yourself, you're going to be able to stay in the game and keep attacking the enemy and deal more damage, thus gaining more points. So yeah, it is not the most effective thing to use a healer, because if you add gem support, that's one skill slot that you're not using for a damaging skill. But this is what you need to survive, so use it. It doesn't matter that you don't do as much damage, as long as you're able to survive more and keep dealing damage with your main damage dealers. Then, for supporters, pretty easy. Arabella with Onigumo and Lilim. So there's plenty of options for this character in particular. You can use Hebiko from the gacha. You can use Maika if you have her, but I doubt like most newer players have her. But you want to use Shikigera in that case, the Mochi weapon. You can use Nana to become tankier. You can use Orisaki Kirara if you have that limited one. You can use Igawa Sakura, Shadow Fairy, to reduce damage taken. You can use Sakuya to reduce damage taken. You can use Akina to become tankier. You can use Saya if you don't have any other options. You can use wait, Saya actually has a niche. You put her on the main with Shikigiri, the Momochi weapon, and you're gonna have more crit chance, and that's gonna help you out to reduce the defense of the enemy. You can use Ana Rose again to increase damage and your crit rate. You can use character release Lapis on a demon team to reduce incoming damage and increase your survivability. And the same can be said about this one, but it's an offensive one. It increases your critical rate. So yeah, use whichever you want, honestly, and whichever you can. I prefer to go with these F2Ps because they increase a lot the damage. Stats of the customs, stats from the stat training. It's Lapis, so you're gonna use it. You're gonna use her a lot. For Tokiko is another pretty F2P character and pretty devastating. You're gonna use Mechanical Dart to reduce the defense of the enemy, or well, increase your damage with a wind attribute element, preferably whatever weapon, whatever subslot, and then Magpipe, Taimanin Blast, and Clairvoyance. Clairvoyance to increase your damage by reducing the defense of the enemy. The same can be said about Blast. Magpipe to become range, so that you are not next to the enemy. I mean, it's mid-range, so you're in range for the attacks, so that you're able to evade them. You use the perfect dodge, and then you increase your damage. We use White Knight Asagi with Mitsuki and Barretta. But again, you can equip whatever you want that increases damage, and it's way better than this. For example, you can use Nanao. Nanao is an excellent option. You can use what else? You can use Misaki just like that, because Tokiko has critical rate increase, so you don't need a Surugam in this case. You can also use Kaoru. You can use any crit supporter that you have. Critical damage supporter, not critical rate. You don't need the critical rate. Keep that in mind. So yeah. In case that even with Lapis you don't have enough healing, you can use Yachio. But I hope you don't need to use Yachio if you have Lapis. stats of the customs, stats of the stat training, and lastly, my Astaroth. Again, you can substitute this for whatever character you have, whatever weapons, like just use your best damage dealer over here. Here I have Astaroth with the Wicked Star, so it's an anti-demon weapon, the Fire Magatamas, then we're gonna go red just to use the 3 colors, because it's easier to build 3 colors than building one single color for the whole team. So we're going red. That means Hellblaze, Phoenix Dive. You need Phoenix Dive to be next to the enemy because the AI of Astaroth keeps the enemy, the character far away, and Hellblaze is an attack that you need to use mid range, so you need to be closer to the enemy. That's why we use this one. And a Fire Blast, because we need the basic enhancer, because if not, Astaroth is not going to hit the enemy. So for supporters, we use Stella, Shirayuki, and Lina. Lina is super useful. If you have her, use her. You can also use Furfur, Vacation Furfur, I mean. You can use... who else? Depending on the amount of debuffs, which should be a good amount, you can use Holy Knight Kirara or Susune. Do not use Yukina because I'm using the basic enhancer in this case. You can use Baretta if you have enough weapon enchantment and S level. You can use Weaver, Granny, and that's about it. Stats of the customs, stats of the stat training, and let's do a run. So this one is gonna be pretty good. Those 2 supporters are just excellent for VR, and they're also going to be able to keep you alive as long as you have enough damage reduction. And with that damage reduction, you're going to be able to stay alive, and you're going to be able to keep attacking the enemy and increase your score. So let's hope that this is good enough. And as you can see, Edwin is on the slow field. Interesting. It doesn't reflect the slow? Like, it doesn't have an icon? Weird. Unfortunately, part of the niche of Red Asteroid is to use terror, but we are not using terror for them. Well, maybe we are. Maybe we are. It managed to reach the 10 stacks. Well, that's interesting. Okay, yeah, nice. Not the best damage, but the important part is for players to increase their score. Again, you're not gonna get a high score. Maybe you don't reach their requirement. This is more of a build for beginners to be able to grab some points, and it is focused on survivability. So yeah, at least 300. Okay, not bad. So it is a good thing that Grimoire reduce the amount of points. This is on normal mode. You only need 400. You need only 400 for both of them, which is nice. Again, these are for newer players. Like the last one is for newer players. So let's say that you grab 700, 800, maybe 600 coins, and that's going to help you out tremendously, because this store, I know that you think it is not worth it because the item don't seem that appealing, but being able to grab butterfly weapons is really, really impactful. Grab that Kahahirako, grab those butterfly cannons, maybe even Yume Midori if you have Asusa. Grabbing that supporter is gonna be nice, grabbing the honor coins, and of course the bad coins. Everything else is not really worth it. Due to the scarcity of this resource, I do not recommend that you grab the crystals here. It is better to farm drops for those, but and you want to grab the limited coins and the ultimate weapon vouchers here on the honor coin shop. So yeah, I hope you find this useful. I'm preparing the video for our beloved Ragnarok, but that's gonna be it for today, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye.